start, Johnny Palmer.
So they're going to be through the grid hatchings, remember, otherwise they may be done for a penalty for not being in position, and this is all about patience, because the natural thing is to get onto the loud pedal very, very early, but the red lights are still being displayed, as you can see, and then it's only when those lights go out and they cross the start line that you can begin to get going. The Lamborghinis now do burst into life, and it's a much better start from Marco Mappelli in the Schaeffler-sponsored car, the green and white machine, to get the jump on the Red Bull, the version, the 84 car on the inside line, and here now for a nibble around the outside is Danny Juncadella in the number 3 Red Bull Mercedes. The Red Bull cars are actually making contact with one another through the second portion of the Haug hook. Also a hold up right in the mid-pack as well. I feared that around about the lower 20s, so let's hope that everyone has got through. As now starting to lose positions is the Audi, because the Conrad Lamborghini, which has been started by Maximilian Paul, is up to 4th position. So Chris Haase, maybe with that mistake on the rolling lap ringing in his ears, dropping to 5th, make that 6th, because very late on the brakes is Kevin Estra in the Grello Porsche. He's up to 5th. Can it be one better, as it's nose to tail ahead of it between Mercedes and Lamborghini? Out of the Goodyear Kera for the first time, and a spin for the Rover Racing BMW. Further back now, is that the 99 BMW? I think the one of Farmer's got through. It is the sister 99 car, which has been left at the back of the field of SP9.
And one of the Fords, I think it was Frank Stittler, jumped out of line before we got to the start line. The start line itself has been moved closer to the first corner this season in all of the NLS races, and that's happened again here. It remains to be seen whether that will attract a penalty. I've got IMSA regulations in my mind, not necessarily the ones here this week. A huge sideways moment for the second Lamborghini, the Red Bull aft car, and that's blown the tyre. Left rear tyre's gone. As they were coming out of the S's, dived straight into the pit lane before going out onto the Hansenbahn. If that had happened one corner later, they would have had 15 miles around the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and that would have put a dent in their hopes.
So that was our pole starter, Mirko Bortolotti. I'll tell you why Christopher Haas fell back. He got too close just before the lights flicked to green to the car in front and had to come off the power, whereas Danny Juncadella, who's now up into 2nd place in that number 3 Verstappen.com Mercedes. Here comes Mirko Bortolotti from the glory of 2 Lamborghinis on the front row. Contact, rear puncture, but thank goodness you're quite right, John. Had he gone another couple of metres, if he'd been on the Nordschleife, it would have been a disaster.
We also haven't revisited the contact that was made at the first corner. I'm pretty determined that the rear left of the Lambo got nerved by the front of the Mercedes, but I think that's what's finished off the tyre for sure at the end of the Grand Prix lap. But had it already been compromised?
That was a set of soft compound Michelin's going on not only multi-tyre companies but multiple tyre choices. It'll be 2 or 3 slick compounds, cut slick and a wet, should the expected rain actually arrive. Cars heading out of the hill and over the rise. Second group of cars. So that was a good enough race, by the way. Here's the middle part of the grid. The second of 3 parts. This is all of the Porsche Cup cars coming across the line. The 2 Mulder racing cars towards the front of that, and they just got slightly out-fumbled going down into the first corner. Not quite as many 911 Cup cars as we've had in the past here, but still a very handy field. And expect to see those cars somewhere in maybe the top 30, maybe even the top 20 by the time we get to 3 o'clock tomorrow. Another one of the irregularities here, but it's sensible. Those cars have started 3 minutes behind the first car that went across the line.
Tim Schumacher then leads them for Mullner Motorsport. Also in there is Manuel Metzger in the AT2 lead, so they're not all from Cup 2, but Manuel Metzger started the 632 Black Falcon Team Fanatec car. Off the road already is the 320. That's one of the Ford Motors concept cars that's going to struggle to get back on because nobody's going to give him the space. It's not like pulling up to a T-junction and hoping that one will give way. Another AT2 car for Henrik Boleslev, and he does get going now. Also in that lead gaggle was the sister Mullner car of Moritz Kranz to start, Luca Rettenbacher for Santo Relais Royale Racing Team and Philip Hamprecht in the RPM, the Tracy Crone car for RPM Racing.
So when we get to the end of the first lap for everybody, the times will be reset. So the third group goes through 6 minutes behind the leaders. There won't be 6 minutes down on the timing. It's very clever. So that's why some of these cars will get up. It's as if they all started together, but clearly we couldn't do that. My eyes did not deceive me, and the Group 1 start is under investigation. I saw a number of people breaking ranks early on. I think one was Frank Stibler in the Ford GT. It was down to the fact, as you said, Bruce, that at the front of the field there were a couple of people who just mistimed their application of the throttle, then had to come off or indeed brake.
It's the anticipation. You're trying to second guess in the field that's so close together in terms of qualifying. Big point for Mirko Bortolotti. Pole starter, came in for those tyres, but I think he got out before the second pack of cars was released, so he just managed to buy himself some time.
Estra up to third place already in Grello. This is the 10-year anniversary of Grello for Manthey, that colour scheme. 20-year anniversary of their first victory and 30-year anniversary of the first outing and the formation of that. Daniel Hucadea is looking back at Kevin Estra, Marco Mappelli then, Hucadea, Estra, Maxi Paul, Chris Haase, the Share Sport BMW with the brilliant bright white wheels that does make it look like a Tamiya RC car. I think that is absolutely superb. Then it's the realised Condor Ferrari in 6th, just the one Ferrari in the race. Then KCMG with David Pittard, the 47, black, white, blue. AMG, the best of the Mustangs is Frank Stibler, Stimpy in 8th in the 64 car. Top 10 made up by Nicky Team in the Valkenhorst Aston Martin Vantage, the number 34 car. And Adam Christodoulou started Pro Sport Racing Mercedes AMG GT3, the number 26. Here's the third set of cars to come across the line. I feel like one of those infomercials, but wait, there's more.
And you've got BMW 240i's then heading these off. Moran Gott in 195, the black and orange car, and Yannick Fubrich in the 650. They are both from the same class. They run on a controlled tyre as well. But then in behind, what you can't see is the Porsche Cayman of Alex Müller. And he now darts to the left-hand side. You've got another BMW for Aldrin Opran and Bastian Arendt in a 911. It's a real collection of all sorts of things that make up start Group 3 and 5 abreast, I would say, going into the Haug Hook. One car really didn't get away too well at all, so almost nose-to-tail contact. Forget about track limits on this first run through the Haug Hook. You're kind of forgiven if you even left the complex and have to check back in again, which some did, as these mainly BMWs actually. There's an Audi TCR car creeping through as well. VW Sirocco sitting right in the middle, a Cayman as well. So
yeah, that Sirocco was put to the back of the group actually. They had some infraction earlier on in the weekend.
They're making good progress.
Yeah, the Super GR also in the mix there. In some ways, Bruce, this group of cars, maybe more than any other, certainly Group 2 and Group 3, really encapsulate the actions at the front with the pro drivers, and there's plenty of it as the Lamborghini goes past Kevin Estra for third position. Wow, that was the Franz Conrad Maxi Paul going through. I think they traded a little bit of final there as the Woodward Racing car right in front, so all three of them, second, new third and fourth, trailing